Toughness and resilience. These qualities are hallmarks of Texas. This rivalry brings together two clubs which embody the identity of the state. They take the field to the roar of the crowd, playing with pride and passion. This is the Silver Boot Series. No better place to be on a Friday night than here in our little baseball castle. Globe Life Park, the scene tonight for the Astros and the Rangers. Second game in our Silver Boot Series this weekend. Justin Verlander to take the hill for the Astros, and these Rangers trying to get back on track offensively. Welcome in, everybody. Great to be with you tonight. I'm Dave Raymond alongside Mr. Ranger Tom Grieve. And last night the Rangers did not win. They lost the opener of this series. But they have been playing some of their best baseball really these last couple of weeks. Part of it has been a resurgent offense led by Shin-Soo Choo.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of it, Dave. When you look at the top of the lineup and what Shin-Soo Choo has been able to accomplish, he's reached base now in 23 straight games. During that time, he's hit .318. His on-base percentage over that time has been .458. That's the second highest in Major League Baseball. His OPS close to 1,000. He's a guy that has a discerning eye at the plate. He doesn't swing at bad pitches. He doesn't try to pull the ball. He uses the whole field. If you're a young player, and the Rangers have a bunch of them trying to learn to hit at the big league level, this is a guy whose brain I would pick every day I had the chance to, because he knows how to hit.
Yeah, he has been doing an outstanding job for the Rangers, and he'll have the duty tonight of setting the tone against one of the best pitchers in the game. Justin Verlander on a run to start this 2018 season. It is somewhat historic. If you go back to the beginning of the DH era, first 13 starts, lowest ERA, well, Steve Rogers back in 1973 with the Expos. Ubaldo Jimenez a 116 back in 2010. Back 17, 18 years for Pedro Martinez, 118. And right there, fourth on this list now, Justin Verlander, a 124 ERA so far through 13 starts this year. He has been pretty unbelievable, although maybe it shouldn't come as a surprise to us, Tom, because he's done this ever since becoming an Astro.
Yeah, you take an already great pitcher who gets traded to the Astros last year, and he became even better. When you combine last year and the postseason with this year, he's 16-3 with a 1.42 ERA, 1.57 opponent's batting average. Last year he was 4-1 in the postseason. How has he elevated his game? It's the first time he's been traded. Maybe he's trying to impress his new teammates. Maybe, as most importantly, he's going to a better team in a pennant race in the postseason that plays great defense. I think that's allowed him to elevate his game even higher.
Well, whatever the case, it's really worked for him.
Yes.
I mean, he has been unbelievable. We'll see what he's got tonight. Part of the help for him has been a very good offense and a good lineup, as Tom mentions. And at the top of it, one of the best in the game, Jose Altuve. We'll put him in the spotlight next. Here tonight, Astros and Rangers, second game in our 4-game series, and a great rivalry as always. We were talking about Jose Altuve as we're going to break. I mean, what a spectacular run this young man is on, last year's MVP, and we put him in our Shiner Box spotlight before this one tonight.
Well, one thing Jose Altuve has done is he has hit the ball on the road this year for sure. He's hitting .412 this year, and if you look at his career average, it's .324. Where does that rank among baseball greats? Well, he's 5th behind Hall of Famers Tony Gwynn, Ted Williams, Joe D, Stan Musial. That's pretty fast company he's keeping, and if he keeps hitting .412 on the road like he is this year, he's going to climb that list.
Yeah, always a tough customer. 3 hits last night in the Astros victory here, and so that'll be one of the charges tonight for Doug Fister to slow him down. Meanwhile, the offensive side, Rangers have employed a different strategy lately that has really worked well. For a little more on that, let's check in with Emily Jones.
Yeah, we've talked a lot in the last couple of days about the home runs. We saw them in the Oakland series. They weren't necessarily present last night, but Jeff Bannister kept mentioning that what was going on in between those home runs is what was encouraging, and you saw it last night with Garrett Cole early in the game. They forced him to throw 57 pitches through 3 innings, which was a season high. They didn't necessarily cash in on all of those opportunities, but Jeff Bannister feels like if they can take that approach into tonight and throughout the remainder of the season, that they have a chance to work those starting pitchers, get to the bullpens a little bit earlier, and have a little more chance for success. So that's the strategy headed into tonight, to kind of replicate what they did last night, but maybe cash in on a few more of those opportunities when they get them, Dave.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. And it obviously that's a great plan when it works, when they're able to cash those things in. They have done a very good job of putting themselves in solid positions lately. So let's take a look at the Astros starting lineup tonight. 39 wins, 25 losses. Still a game back of Seattle, though. George Springer, rather, that'd be interesting, leading things off in center field. Alex Bregman at third base, Jose Altuve at second. Then in the heart of things, it's Gurriel, Gaddis, and Josh Reddick back in the lineup tonight. Marwin Gonzalez, Brian McCann, and then the speedy Tony Kemp in left field rounded out for Houston.
Well, it's Doug Fister on the mound for the Rangers, and before he throws the first pitch, let's take a look at his pitch arsenal, what he will be featuring tonight. 60% of the time he'll throw his 2-seam fastball. That's a sinker, and that's his bread and butter pitch. He'll mix in a cutter, fastball, a curveball, and a changeup in equal amount. But his main pitch is the sinker, and when he's successful, that sinker is working very well for him.
All right, so Fister ready to go. 1 win, 6 losses, and a .413 earned run average. It's his 11th start of the year. And we wait now. I'm not sure on exactly what we're waiting. Springer and Ryan Blackney, our plate umpire, discussing things. Everybody else looking out toward the outfield. And I don't know if Blackney's waiting for a signal. All 3, or other remaining 3 umpires are out there as well.
Maybe he's waiting for 7-10.
Well, why?
Well, he's going to give us time to do the lineup, so let's take a look at him. Delino's back in center field. Joey Gallo moves over to left. Nomar Mazara in his customary spot in right field. In the infield, Adrian Beltre is back at third base. Jurickson Profar, Rougned Odor will man the middle infield positions. The Condor, Ronald Guzman, is at first, and behind the plate is Robinson Chirino.
All right.
And it's still 7:09.
But it's a 7:05 start, isn't it?
And let me mention, since I've got time, Dave,
yeah,
that our defense was delivered tonight by the New Braunfels Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Oh, that's all we needed. Thank you, New Braunfels. Now we're ready to go. And the first pitch, just off the outside corner for ball 1.
I need to thank Ryan Blakeney for that. The home plate umpire allowed me to get that in.
Allowed nothing. He was waiting for it.
He was. As soon as he heard the New Braunfels Convention and Visitors Bureau, play ball.
Nice, Grant. 1-1 to Springer. Bouncer, third base. Good pick down there by Adrian Beltre. And he throws out Springer to start our ball game tonight.
Well, even though we've watched Adrian for a long time make the play that way, it's still fun to watch him play third base. Most guys, when they field the ball like that, keep on moving. Adrian likes to come to a dead stop and throw it flat-footed over to first base. That might not be the way that you would teach your youngster how to make the play, but your youngster doesn't have the same arm strength that Adrian has, and that's what works for him. He knows he has the arm strength to throw flat-footed, and I would guess over the years that's the way he's developed the most accuracy to throw that ball, and so it works for him.
Well, Bregman takes one a little off the plate. 1-1 the count. The second place hitter for the Astros tonight. Bregman comes in at 268, as you can see. Comes up empty. 1-2. Pfister, a guy who does not like to wait around. When he gets that baseball, he's ready to chuck it.
Makes him a friend of all the defensive players and a friend of all the broadcasters.
Yep. Well, I
don't think we've ever complained about a pitcher who worked quickly.
You've never. Now hitters occasionally will, especially if they feel like they've been quick pitched. 2-2 the count. But I loved it when he made his first start as a Ranger. We talked to him a day or so before we were in Oakland. Maybe it was his second start, in fact. And I asked him, well, what is it? Why? What made you a fast worker? Because that is definitely a big part of his plan. Fly ball to center field, and to Shields with plenty of room out there to circle underneath it. 2 away. And I love the fact that he said part of it is growing up, he played behind slow workers. It's like, I've stood out there, shortstop in the outfield, and wondered why is the guy throwing the pitch, and I vowed that I would never be that guy.
Good for him. I guess the slow working pitchers never were position players and had the opportunity to play behind a slow working pitcher, because I guess that would be a good motivating factor. You have to know what it feels like when you're sitting out there when it's 100 degrees watching your pitcher walk around the mound, go to the rosin bag, shake off signs. Been more than one defensive player who screamed throw the ball at his own pitcher.
1-1 to Jose Altuve, third in the league with that .338 average. 3 more hits last night. Last year's American League MVP, and he takes inside. So now I feel like it's a thing that we're all so much more sensitive to today. We talk about it so much more than ever before. When you were a player, were there guys that, you know, you were aware of? You thought, man, I wish this guy would just throw it.
I don't think there were that many, but I had the honor of playing behind a guy like Fergie Jenkins, who was just like Doug. Got the ball and threw it. He had a game plan, and he didn't have to sit around wondering what to do.
Not much that Beltre could do with that one. A little slow chopper to third base, and Jose Altuve with an infield hit.
Maybe the quickest worker. You can't work any quicker than this, and he didn't do it his whole career, but for a stretch, Jim Cott. He worked with no windup. He stood on the rubber and never left it, and as soon as he got the ball, he was ready to throw. And again, he didn't go into a windup. He just got the ball and stepped toward home plate. So as a hitter, you had a choice. You either stood there, didn't leave the box, and stayed ready, or you had to call timeout. But I can't remember. I don't think anyone could work any faster than Jim Cott did, and he didn't do it his whole career, but toward the end of his career when he was doing that, he was effective because of it. With it. I won't say because of it, but with it. Not many pitchers can pitch effectively with their best stuff by just taking one quick slide step toward home plate with without any type of a windup.
Quick look over there at Altuve, who has 9 steals this year.
That would be fascinating to have Jim Cott here and explain how that started, why he did it, how it worked, blah, blah, blah.
Hard ground ball second base, and Odor will choose to throw it to first, and he gets Gurriel to end the inning. A quick top of the first for Pfister. Now in the bottom of the first, Shin-Soo Choo to start things off. The Jerks and Profar and Nomar Mazara. their hacks at it tonight. Taking a look at our Southwest starting lineup for the Rangers. 27 wins, 38 losses. And Chu will lead it off as a DH. Jurickson, Profar, Nomar, Mazara to follow. Then it's Beltre, Gallo, Chirinos in the middle. Odor at second, Guzman at first, and Delano to Shields in center field rounds it out. Justin Verlander, 7 wins, 2 losses in his first pitch. Lofted out to left center field. Hanging up there a while. Back to the wall. Gone! First pitch of the game, and Chu takes Verlander out of the yard, and it's 1-0 Rangers.
Yeah, when Shin-Soo Choo is swinging the bat like he has been for the last month, he's not a leadoff hitter that you can just throw a strike to get ahead in the count. And we've seen it so many times, Chu showing this kind of power to the opposite field. Not many left-hand hitters can drive a ball into the bullpen. Certainly not many leadoff left-handed hitters can do that. But Chu does it pretty consistently, and in this kind of a groove, it's just been fun to watch him. 24 straight games now he has reached base.
To see Chu in the dugout there, it looked like Bartolo got him again, as he continues to get everybody these days. Strike to Profar, the count 1-1, and Chu looked back at him like, what are you doing? For some reason, Bartolo's infatuated with the paper cup and making it explode really loud like a shotgun. He's been doing it in the clubhouse. He's been doing it on the airplane.
Like he just figured this out?
He must have. It's like his new thing. And he just scared the pants off Chu there.
Well, one way to do it is to take a bat and put the bat in the paper cup and press it down, and then lift the bat up and smash the paper cup, and you'll get that same effect. We used to do that quite a bit.
It's Bartolo, the oldest guy down there, but
maybe because he has the heart of a younger player and the mind of a younger player, that's allowed him to play so well into his 40s.
1-2 on Jurickson, Profar. TXU Energy, power player to watch. Profar has been outstanding lately for the Rangers, and one of the things he's done so well, good competitive at bats. Hasn't struck out now in his last 20 plate appearances, and that's the 5th longest active streak in baseball. Two and two the count. Now, Verlander had allowed just 5 home runs in 87 1/3 innings coming in. He is at the top of the league standings in just about every category. Innings pitched, strikeouts, batting average against. But Chu took him out on the first pitch of the game. And this one shanked by Profar, and it stays 2-2. So watch this here.
Poor Bartolo, he couldn't even get a smile out of that.
A swing and a miss, and Profar is the first out here in the first inning.
And third, right fielder, number 30, Nomar.
And there's a hard slider from Verlander, and boy, that's a strikeout pitch for him. In addition to that slider, he'll also throw a pitch a little bit slower that breaks a little bit more, his curveball. Doesn't throw his changeup very much because his other pitches are so good, but he's got a very good changeup as well.
One out here is Nomar Mazara. Mazara, 14 home runs, a 2.67 ERA. Or batting average, which would make a lot more sense. 2-0. There are the numbers for Nomar, an OPS over 840. Verlander comes in with a high strike that time, 95 miles per hour. And it's 2-1. Now they're giving Mazara that left side of the infield again, and that is pretty well standard with a left-handed hitter up there. This is how the Astros tend to align themselves defensively. That one right down the middle. It's 2-2. Mazara yesterday 0 for 3 with a walk. In fact, just 2 hits in his last 17 at bats. Comes up empty. Back-to-back strikeouts for Justin Verlander, 2 away.
Let's take a look at the pitch arsenal for Justin Verlander. We've seen the slider account for both strikeouts in the first inning. So we know that's one pitch he likes to throw. He'll throw a 4-seam fastball 61% of the time. Doesn't really throw a sinker. His 4-seam fastball is a straight fastball. He likes to throw it up in the strike zone. Slider would be the pitch he uses the second most, followed by the curveball and then the changeup. And we've seen the slider be a pretty tough pitch for the Rangers to handle already in this game.
Beltre right at 300. He has seen a lot of Justin Verlander over the years. 66 at bats against him. And a whole 0-2. 273 lifetime average against Verlander, which you have to consider pretty good. Verlander allowing opposing hitters a 152 average this year. A swing and a miss. He strikes out the side in the first inning, but the Rangers start the scoring. Shin-Soo Choo with his 24th career leadoff home run, and he has the Rangers on top, 1-0. All right, 1-0. The start to this one, so Rangers loving that. As we go to the second inning, Evan Gattis will start things off for Houston, and Doug Fister gets right after him with strike one. Gattis now with 10 home runs for the year, including one last night. And now in his last 10 games, this guy's swinging a hot bat. 6 home runs, 14 RBIs in his last 10 games. That went in tight, and he did not go around on appeal. 2-1. Fister gave up an infield hit in the first inning, and this one lined out to left field by Gattis, and he is on with his second hit of the night for Houston.
Gattis is one of those streaks where everything he hits finds a hole. And most of what he's been hitting has been hit hard, and a lot of them have gone out of the ballpark. So it's 6 home runs in the last 10 games coming into the season. Got off to a slow start, but man, he is picking it up lately.
So he is on, and Josh Reddick, first left-handed hitter that Pfister will see tonight, steps in. Reddick, the right fielder, and that one bends him back off the plate. Reddick has been quiet against the Rangers this year. He did not play yesterday's game. Recently returned from the disabled list. Last played Wednesday night, went 1 for 4 against Seattle. Had a leg infection. They put him on the 10-day DL. He was put on the DL on May 21st, missed 14 games. Very good defensive outfielder who has struggled a little bit at the plate this year to the tune of a .228 average. Two and two.
Reddick is coming off a season where he hit .314, drove in 82 runs. One of those veterans that the Astros added a couple of years ago. They had the great young core, but they felt like they needed some veteran leadership. Reddick was one of the guys that they went out and acquired. Solid all-around players, very good defensive player, good teammate. Not necessarily a third or fourth place hitter, but one of those complementary pieces in the lineup that can be very important to a pennant-winning team, and he was last year.
That one just missed. Ball 4, so Reddick draws the walk. All right, how about a word from our friends at Southwest Kia?
$250 down, $250 a month or less on select new Kias in stock, only at southwestkia.com.
Okay, 2 men on, nobody out here in the second inning. So Pfister gonna have to bear down now. Last night, the Astros were 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position. This is their first opportunity tonight. And Gonzalez showing bunt, bunts it in the air and just beyond the reach of Chirinos. It was nearly a terrible mistake there by Marwin Gonzalez.
Yeah, those are so frustrating for a catcher because it's such a simple play. If you could just get to it, just a little blooper, and a great way to help the pitcher out if you can somehow get to a ball like that. Robinson did everything he could, but it was ball that he couldn't even dive for and have a chance to catch. A simple way to get it out.
This one just missed the corner.
Now pop up the sacrifice bunt attempt and now swing away and ground ball to second, turn a double play.
Marwin's been a tough one on the Rangers these last couple of years. Last year put up some really big numbers in the Silver Boot series. And yesterday, you saw at the bottom of your screen there a moment ago, it was 2 for 4 in the opener. He seems to find that extra gear or whatever against his in-state rivals.
Yeah, he's only hitting .238, but he's 10 for his last 25, so it was much lower than that, not too far back. Rangers are catching him in a pretty good streak. We were talking yesterday that the Astros pitching is even better this year than it was last year, but the offense might be down a tick. Gonzalez last year hit 23 home runs and knocked in 90 runs. He's got a ways to go this year to approach those numbers.
Stays alive. Yeah, kind of hard to believe last year's World Series champion team. When you think of some of the great players on this Astros team, whether it be Springer or Altuve, Bregman, some of the big bats, it was Marwin Gonzalez and those 90 RBIs that led the team.
That really is remarkable. Probably would have been Correa if he didn't miss as much time as he did, but the reality is it was Marwin Gonzalez.
It's a base hit out to right field. Gaddis will round third base. He scores easily on the Marwin Gonzalez single. That ties the game at 1.
Well, you were talking about Gonzalez against the Rangers, and you also mentioned that Gonzalez recently, over the last week, has been hot. 10 for his last 25, 11 now for his last 26. Gaddis almost tripped going around third, but regained his balance. Well hit ball by Gonzalez, and good job by Mazara getting the ball in quickly and not allowing Gonzalez to get to second base on it.
So it brings up McCann. Not play yesterday. Today gets the start behind the plate, and he takes one inside. It's 1-1. McCann coming off the disabled list today. Missed 9 games while working his way back from some soreness in his right knee. McCann's average is just .219 for the year. And he takes inside 2-1. A single, a walk, a single for the Astros in this second inning. And they have tied up the game. And they have made Doug Fister work a little bit. This will be his 20th pitch of the inning. High fly ball center field. DeShields coming way in. And he'll make the catch. Reddick bluffs, but he's not going to test the arm.
That was a good play, good throw. Simple play, but you can mess it up with a bad throw. If that ball sailed over the cutoff man's head, then Gonzalez at first base was ready. He tagged up, was ready to go to second. Guy's not going to try to score from third on that play. But Delano's throw was strong and came right to the cutoff man. And that made Gonzalez put on the brakes and go back to first and keep the double play in order.
Fister wants a new baseball. Yeah, so 1 out. Here's Tony Kemp. Now Kemp's a tough guy to double up. He's got such great speed. Very versatile player for the Astros. A second baseman, an outfielder. Last night was hitless. Batted 8th yesterday. In fact, he bounced into a very impressive 3-6-3 double play last night. He takes strike 2.
That's the area where you have a decision to make on a sacrifice fly. If it's near the red, then the outfielder should be able to field it and throw you out if you try to score. If it's back near the green, then it's probably out of the range of the outfielder's throwing ability to make the play at the plate. Anything in the middle between the green and the red has a varying percentage of success.
Bouncer right side. Odor smothers, throws to first, but unfortunately a little mix-up as to who should cover the base. And everybody is safe. A run is in, and Houston leads 2-1. That'll be a base hit for Kemp.
Yeah, that's just one of those balls that was perfectly located. If Ronald Guzman can't get to it, there's not much that can be done by any first baseman. Odor showed some nice range to get over, lunge, and catch the ball. And then as he throws it, Guzman is not sure whether Fister's there or not. He tries to get back to the bag, and with Kemp running, I don't think it mattered if there was only one guy there, even with his foot on the bag. He was probably going to beat it anyway. A nice attempt by Guzman and by Odor. And just the way the ball was hit, there wasn't much they could do about it.
So 2-1 Houston. They have a couple of base runners out there now for Springer with one out. Springer grounded out his first time up and fouls that one away. Springer gives the Astros good power out of that leadoff spot. And he has been a bit of a difference maker for them. And they've had him in that leadoff spot the last couple of years. It has meant a lot more success when they work without him in that leadoff spot. It juggles everything for them in the order, and they just haven't had anywhere near the success. It was a move made by A.J. Hinch in May a couple of years ago, and it really turned their season around. Or at the very least, it seemed to occur at the time the season turned around. Sometimes be a subtle difference between correlation and causation, but regardless, they do feel a lot more comfortable with this guy in their leadoff spot. Third 3-ball count and a slow bounder third, but that was fouled off of his foot.
Springer's been hot in the month of June, hitting .381, having another excellent season. Last year he hit .283. That was his highest average that he'd had. 34 home runs, 85 RBIs for a leadoff hitter. Pretty impressive numbers. Those were his career highs. Scored 112 runs. The thing I like about Springer that you don't see very often, 2 years ago he struck out 178 times. Last year he cut that from 178 down to 111. Cut his strikeouts down by 67 strikeouts. That's over a third, which is an incredible improvement. You, I think, would hope with a guy striking out 180 times, maybe he drops it down to 150 or 160. That would be a nice drop, but Springer made a dramatic drop, and probably the reason he had his best season last year.
That was his third straight year to cut down on his strikeouts. Lines this one deep into left field. Gets Gonzalez to the plate with Kemp's speed. He'll be sent. Here comes the throw. It's late. Springer goes for third, and he is safe at third. Two-run triple by George Springer, and Jeff Bannister asking for a moment. They may want to challenge the call at third base.
Well, when you hit a ball like this, you love having Tony Kemp on first base. A lot of guys aren't going to be able to score on this ball. The Rangers get it in pretty quick. But Tony Kemp is flying around the bases. There's no shot to get him at the plate. The throw comes home, and on the throw, aggressively, Springer takes third base, where the infield will have to come in now with one out. Keep that extra run from scoring. That's nice base running by Springer, who could easily have trotted into second base with a double and watched the play at the plate and not be in position to score on a fly ball, but hustling all the way, he ended up at third, where he can now score on a fly ball.
Bregman takes low. 2-0 the count.
Boy, you talk about flying through the air. They call him Spider-Man because of the way he can go up over a wall and catch a ball. We've seen him do that too, or dive for a ball in the outfield, but there's a diving play into third base. Beat that throw. A great athlete.
Scored a double for Springer and then moved up on the throw. Picked up 2 RBIs, 4-0, or rather 4-1 the score. And Doug Brocail, rather long visit out there with Doug Fister. Part of that may be buying some time in that bullpen. Our Southwest bullpen live look. Tony Barnett already warming up. Bregman bounces it to short. The throw comes to the plate. A run Springer back to third. Beltre will put the tag on it. Throw back to second. And they get the double play.
That's the way to turn it.
Nicely done, Adrian Beltre. Not the most conventional double play, but a beauty. The inning is over. Now the Rangers get back to work on offense. This Southwest player breakdown. What a finish.
You got a man on third and 1 out. Hard ground ball to short. Your goal here is to perform the rundown quickly enough, which with 1 throw they did, so that you don't allow the hitter, in this case Bregman, to reach second base. And thanks to agility and a strong arm and an accurate throw, the Rangers perform the rundown and they get the out at second base. Nice way to end the inning.
Now Joey Gallo to start things off, and he takes a strike. Gallo 5th in the league with 17 home runs, 37 RBIs. And Verlander's next pitch to him, fouled away. Defensively, the Astros have definitely committed to the idea that he'll pull. That is awesome. Red Rover, Red Rover. Send Gallo right over. 1-2.
Is that a game you enjoyed playing in
Remember
elementary school?
I loved that game as a kid.
Yeah. I was never held in that game.
Yeah.
Never didn't break through. Of course, I made sure there were 2 girls holding hands together when I ran. I stayed away from the big guys.
2-2 to Gallo. Yeah, but there were probably occasions, 4th grade, where you ran through those 2 girls and you wish maybe that they would have held you. No,
I never
too
ran.
macho.
I never ran to the girls. There was one other. I had a rival. I ran to him every single time.
Gallo strikes out swinging to start the second inning.
The Ranger hitters are probably going to talk to Chu and say, did you have to hit the first pitch out of the ballpark and make Verlander mad? Because since that home run, it's been 4 up, 4 down, and 4 strikeouts. Now that's the slider that he's used to get a number of those strikeouts, but not necessarily the way he wanted to spin it up there to get the strikeout. The ones to Profar Mazzara were sharp, breaking down on the back foot variety. That one stayed up in the strike zone, but he still got the swing and a miss.
Here's Chirinos now. Robbie last night had the double. 8 home runs this year for Chirinos. And it's 1-1.
Verlander already has to feel like he's had a ton of runs in this game. He's pitched against the Rangers 3 times this year. 20 innings, 8 hits, and 2 runs. And he's 1-1. Has an 0.90 ERA so far against the Rangers coming into this ball game. He lost his last start 1-0 against the Rangers and had a no decision in a game where he pitched 8 innings, gave up 1 hit and 1 run, struck out 11. So he's 7-2 on the season. With a little bit of runs against the Rangers, he could be much better than that.
Time granted by our plate umpire, Ryan Blackney. Upstairs, 3-1.
The combination of Altuve and Verlander on the road has been pretty devastating as well. We talked about Altuve and how well he's hit on the road, over 400. Verlander, with a home run in this game, has only given up 3 earned runs on the road all year.
Yeah, his road earned run average, it's a silly number, 0.44. That's just kind of goofy. So he has the best earned run average in the American League, the best road earned run average, best night earned run average, both of those better than his overall ERA. 7th in the league with nearly 11 strikeouts per 9. And there's another one. 5 straight strikeouts for Verlander. Well, thanks to T-Mobile, fans can receive a 20% discount on tickets in the all-you-can-eat seats in the home run porch on Fridays. So looking ahead, you can get your tickets in the all-you-can-eat seats on Friday, June 15th. The Rockies will be in town. Use the coupon code T-Mobile at TexasRangers.com/specials. Friday night, a lot of folks up there. Whatever they want. Boomstick, sure. Go to work. Well, Rougned Odor batting 7th tonight. Verlander's 1 strike offering finds the inside corner. So 0-2. See Rugi's numbers for the year, and they do leave that left side open. He leads the league with 4 bunt singles, but not a threat with 2 strikes. That's 1-2. Rugi missed nearly a month with a leg injury. The 1-2 pitch, he shoots it the other way. Kemp backpedals and puts it away, and it will end the 2nd inning. 2 complete in the books. Astros leading it 4-1. here in the third inning. By the way, Saturday, Major League Baseball on Fox. Jose Altuve and the Astros against the Rangers right here. Coverage at 6 o'clock Central on Fox tomorrow. You can also stream it live on the Fox Sports Go app. There's Altuve in a hole here, 0-2. So that means no local television, no regional TV. It's the big time tomorrow because it's a huge game. Justin Kutcher will have the play-by-play on that one, but to carry him along, of course, he'll have CJ Nikowski, who understandably will take the lead and show you how it's done, right?
I was actually thinking it was more to give you guys a day off.
And listen,
I look at it that way, and I appreciate that.
Not going to lie to you, Justin. It is the day off tomorrow for.
It's supposed to be a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Dave's got 2 Little League games to see.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. My
comes
day's
at a
already
very
planned.
good time.
Tom will be golfing.
See, now I'm jealous. Little League games and golfing.
Yeah.
Now, as we get started, Justin, I have to ask you a question. Now, I heard last year when you did a Ranger game, and I don't believe this, but I'm going to ask you anyway, that you actually ate a boomstick.
Oh, I did.
Now, that's
I've
true.
got the proof to. I have a picture if you want to see it.
No, I'm gonna take your word for it.
Oh no. I did it, and I'm actually trying to figure out what it is I'm going to eat tomorrow.
Well, that's
on
my
the air.
question.
Yeah.
We're going to tease the game tomorrow. I mean, you're a young, fit, slim guy. What
There you go.
Wow, that's impressive.
So just in case you're wondering, I really did eat the boomstick last year. We got it in the 5th inning, and I asked CJ if he wanted any, and he said, no, I'm good. And I proceeded to say, fine, and I finished it top 9.
Wow.
Right before we came back from break. So every single break, I was throwing the mic up, knife and fork, eating it. It was delicious.
Fox could get smart and have a promotion and bring Joey Chestnut in. And have him come up in the booth and see if you can eat a hot dog
That's
faster
not
than
fair.
Joey Chestnut.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot of items here that are big, so I'm going to be watching tomorrow. I want to see what it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I really am. I was doing some research. You know, I don't come to the ballpark a day early just to, come and watch BP. It's more to scout out the food.
Cool.
And I think it's going to be the dilly dog.
Ooh.
I think it will be.
Yeah.
All right, fans, you heard it. You heard it. What inning, in case they can't watch the whole game? Middle of the game?
Well, you tell me. What inning should I do it?
Well, you're probably going to eat a little bit before the game, so I'll give you an hour and a half. Fourth, fifth inning. Yeah.
We've got. I know we have an in-game interview. I think with Elvis Andrews around the 3rd inning.
Yeah.
So maybe like 4th.
Okay.
After that.
Cool.
You might need more than 1 inning.
Well, that's where he's going to start.
Oh, I got you.
Are you challenging me right now?
No, believe me, it's not a challenge.
Well,
I want no part of it.
CJ said he
No
could eat
part
a
of it.
dozen hot dogs on dollar hot dog night.
Yeah,
so.
CJ had me. He had himself down for a dozen hot dogs on dollar hot dog night. He wanted to challenge me to that. I'm good. You guys can handle all the eating, competitive eating, as it were. You got us go? No. Full count. Oh, look, you've broadcast a lot of different things. I wouldn't put it past you to have broadcast competitive eating. Have you ever done it?
I have not done that. I've done the Westminster Dog Show. So that's been a lot of fun the last 4 years. But no, I've not done competitive eating because I think I'd be too jealous.
Gaddis strikes out looking, and it's a 1-2-3. Top of the 3rd. Rangers go to work when we come back. to the bottom of the 3rd inning. And looking ahead tomorrow, our Ford probables. Charlie Morton, 7th in the American League with that 2.84 ERA against Mike Minor, who's been very good here at home for the Rangers. Coverage begins at 6 o'clock tomorrow on the Big Fox. Ronald Guzman leading it off here in the 3rd inning. We'll have the DVR set in case we can't sit in front of the TV live to see Justin Kutcher, see Janikowski, and our own Emily Jones on the telecast tomorrow. All right, so you've done the Westminster Dog Show. As I understand it, your breakthrough, your debut of sorts, came on Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
You've done your research.
Now, how does that happen? How old were you? What was going on? And where was Carmen Sandiego?
Carmen Sandiego was in Asia.
Okay.
So they actually told us, they said, you stand no chance. But I was 12 years old. I was in 7th grade. And my entire 7th grade took a test. And if you got 10 or less wrong on this test, you were interviewed in a group. And I was one of those kids who got 10 or less wrong. And they said, tell us your name and something about yourself that we'll remember. So I said, hi, my name is Justin Kutcher, and I collect baseball cards, in which I have over 50,000.
Whoa.
And the woman goes, 50,000? And I'm like, I'm in. And then she said, please don't shout out the answers. Just, you know, raise your hand, I'll call on you. And that's what happened, and I got selected.
Nice play by Tony Kemp to stay with that pop-up. And retires Guzman to start the bottom of the 3rd inning.
We're going to have to check out the catch probability of that ball. when you look where Tony Kemp's starting and how far he had to go. He's got to check Bregman. He's got to check the tarp. And he probably wisely slides to keep from sprinting right into the tarp. And as he does with the concentration, he kind of slides past the ball, has to reach back and make a beautiful play. You'll be watching that all night long.
But Dave, I should say this. Tom, I don't know if he will remember this, but I may have gotten my breakthrough performance on Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. But I did stats for Tom.
What?
Rangers at Fenway Park.
No way.
Wow.
In 2001.
What was going on?
Wow.
I was in college.
Fly ball out there again. This time Kemp to his
No
left,
way.
and he lays out. He can't hold on to it.
That would have been maybe the best sequence of catches on 2 straight pitches in the history of baseball. It can't ever have been duplicated.
Well, you know what happened?
Wow.
He had the dirt from the warning track in his shoe, and that screwed him up.
It slowed him down. Boy, what an attempt. That would have been spectacular. The first catch was good in and of itself, and he almost goes the other way and almost made another catch. Off the fingers of his glove.
I think maybe
wow.
the little pebbles in his shoe messed up his route. That was the direction that caused the miss.
Wow.
But yep, I did stats for Tom back at Fenway Park.
Wow.
There was a big rain out one of the games as well. The dugouts were like flooded, but I remember it.
Well, you know,
was Tom demanding and
Leo must have watched you do that. Leo's been there forever doing the stats up there. I wish I could say I remember.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it's
I'm
quite
sorry.
all right.
I'm sorry.
Obviously, I did a horrible job.
No, not at all. Not at all. I just hope I was nice to you.
You were.
say you survived all the tongue lashings and the demands.
How many first pitch strikes? No, I'm just kidding.
That is cool. That's a real good tie right there. All right, so let me ask you this. We just talked about the probables for tomorrow. Sal and I love these games, right?
Yeah.
Usually over the course of the summer, these are kind of the highlight games for us. Anytime you have the silver boot on the line, for whatever reason, this rivalry really seems to work for us here in Texas. Outside the state of Texas, how does this play? How is it perceived? What are your thoughts on that?
So, honestly, I think it's taken on a different level. For me, I thought the coolest part of it was when the Astros were in the National League and you had that NL-AL rivalry because it was something special. It happened only a couple times a year. Now you're going to play 19 times a year, so it's not the same thing. But with that said, obviously people in Texas, they love it, they get up for it, and when both teams are good, which the teams in the past have been good, it makes it that much better. Right now, obviously, Houston is the more dominant team than Texas is. But on the national scale, I think it played on a bigger level when they were in two different leagues.
Interesting. Interesting. I feel like it, to me, I like it better now that they're in the same division and that the games have that much more meaning to the division standings. I worked for Houston back in the day when it was an interleague series, and to be honest with you, I mean, the Rangers used to pound lumps on the Rangers, and even then I thought this is silly.
Right.
I can't get into this. It's interleague nonsense. But this same league, same division, and it seems more real to me. I don't know. Maybe that's just an interleague bias that I have, because I don't get into that as Chu walks here in the third inning.
Well, I would try to equate it to the Yankees and the Mets, the White Sox and the Cubs, and the Angels and the Dodgers, and all those teams that, you know, if they were in the same division, would that be as big? Would it be as special? To me, I personally wouldn't think it would be as special. I don't think that the Yankees Mets, if you met 19 times a year, would be as big as it was to meet in that Subway Series. I think the Yankees Red Sox, they've got something different. But when the Yankees and the Mets, now I think the interleague play thing has kind of played itself out, just because you're having interleague series every series. But there's still something nostalgic about it.
Well, that's a lousy opinion, but it's yours. What can I tell you? I mean, you're ascribing value to those series that I guess I don't ascribe. Yankees, Mets, who cares?
Well, why don't you come up here tomorrow and see if you can beat them in a food eating contest?
No,
then
I have no interest in that. None. All right, I'm curious. I mean, that was interesting though. There's another play for Kemp. They're busy out there, 2 away.
So would you want the White Sox and the Cubs in the same division?
No, but I don't really want it in interleague.
Well, I'm with you.
Yeah, because that's again, I guess it goes back to me.
You don't want interleague at all.
I just don't.
I don't either. I'm with you. I wish we could get away with it. We could do away with it.
Yeah.
Because I think now it for the World Series, it used to be so special when you'd have those two teams meet up and they've never played each other.
Right. Yankees, Mets, 2000 Subway World Series. Awesome. Right. Outstanding. I really enjoy that. But not in 2004 for just a week in the middle of the season when it's like all we do is check out. It's like, oh, the season's off.
You guys are looking at it from a selfish point of view.
Yes.
You have to look at it from the view of the fans. If you're a fan in an American League ballpark, you like to see the National League teams come in, get to see great players play. We got to see Barry Bonds in the first interleague game here. So from a fan standpoint, you can make a case both ways, but from a fan standpoint, I think they like interleague play. They like seeing the other teams and the other players.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. I do. I mean, I think the numbers show that, or at least have shown that. And
but
I think
for a rivalry to really be at the top of its game, both teams have to be really good.
Correct.
Like if you're both battling for a pennant, whether it's interleague or whether you're in the same division, you're both battling down the stretch. Then it's compelling. And
that's why you being up here tomorrow night and to try to have an eating contest with me would not be fun for everybody, because you'd lose that badly.
Whoa.
That is a fact.
Hey, you're trying to set something up here. Maybe not for tomorrow, but somewhere down the road.
I'm telling you, keep trying. I am not interested in the eating contest.
If we get like a 50-ounce steak, would that work?
Well, that's a little more compelling.
Yeah.
You're starting to talk. That's more like, that's in division.
Yeah.
Right there.
I'm sure we can make that happen.
Funny thing is, though, when Fox puts these games on the schedule, right? I mean, one of the things they always have to think about is, well, what will that matchup mean? Now, they're, regardless interleague or not, this is a rivalry, and it has some compelling matter in that sense. But then you start hoping for, maybe looking for pitching matchups. And the good news for Fox is when you schedule the Astros, you're probably going to get a top flight starting pitcher. But you get a good matchup tomorrow too, because Minor is a really neat story as well, and what he is doing this year, coming back as a starter now with the Rangers. So you got plenty to talk about tomorrow.
Yeah, and honestly, I think Minor, and he's right there next to Cole Hamels. I think it's a really compelling case for these Texas Rangers because they signed him to that 3-year contract in the offseason. I'm wondering, and I was thinking about this today, you know, if they're trying to sell assets to kind of build, do you try to market him back as a reliever under contract for 2.5 more years, where relievers are so big in today's game, and he was so good out of the bullpen for Kansas City? Under contract, I don't know. It could be something to look forward to down the trade deadline stretch.
Yeah, I think another team might come to the Rangers and have those ideas. From a Ranger perspective, as you look to the next couple of years.
Well, Mazzara with a base hit to right field. That gets to Shields to the plate. Into third base, too. They'll wave him. He'll score. Mazzara to second base. And it's a 1-run game. Nomar, who's so good at driving in runs, 101 of them last year. Comes up with a key hit here in the third.
Well, you got a pitch that stayed up a little bit. I think Verlander's probably trying to get that slider down a little bit more than that. Reddick was playing way over in right center field, and so a ground ball single in the hole ends up being a double. He has a hard time getting to the ball and keeping Chu from scoring all the way from first base. Great at bat for Mazzara, and the Rangers jump right back into the game against probably the best pitcher in the league.
Now Mazzara, the potential tying run for Beltre.
And for the Rangers right now to do what they're doing against Justin Verlander, it's impressive, especially a guy like Nomar Mazzara, as young as he is, to be able to battle like that with 2 outs to get those runs in. That's big time.
It's one of the ways we've seen this team.
Surprisingly, the next fastball to Beltre is 98 miles an hour.
Down the line, foul, stays 0-2. It is one of the ways, though, that we've seen this team, I don't know if mature is the right word, but in the last 2, close to 3 weeks now, they've played a lot better baseball. And it seems like the at-bats just get better and better up and down the lineup for this team. You can talk about Mazzara, you can talk about Profar. Veteran guys like Beltre slotted in there again now. Seems to have made a big difference. Offensively, I think they're back to competing a little bit the way we anticipated them competing this year at the plate. Run as I say that, of course. Beltre strikes out. Well, great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
I was talking to Tom, but it was nice to have you as well, Justin. Hey, have fun tomorrow.
Thanks. Enjoy the day off. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Kutcher, he'll have the call tomorrow. It's a 1-run game as we go to the 4th. All right, fourth inning. One-run game. Josh Reddick walked in the second inning. Swings 1-1 and lifts this one out to Joey Gallo in left field. One away. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's bring in Dana Larson.
Shortstop Marwin Gonzalez.
All right, thanks, Dana. Marwin Gonzalez, and he takes low and in for a ball. Marwin had the RBI single in the second inning. That's good to see, Justin, and nice of him to start wheeling and dealing our pitchers. We're like a month away, month and a half away from the trade deadline, and Kutcher's already turning our starters into relievers and trading them to the other league. I mean, he's a good guy.
Yeah, and you know, when you talk about that kind of a trade, you can't control what another team is going to come to you and ask for, and what they might be looking at your players to do on their ball club. But from a Ranger perspective, as you look to next year and the year after, I think you have to look at Mike and say he figures pretty prominently in our starting rotation. Yeah. And so the Rangers would have to weigh that against any opportunity to trade him. I think he fits in very well here. He's pitching very well. He likes it here, and the Rangers like him. So you can't say never to anything, but I would say that might be a little bit unlikely.
2-2, and Gonzalez fights it off, and he'll get another. Drops that one in there for a strike. So Gonzalez goes down looking a little late with that swing right there. 2 away here in the fourth inning.
Oh, looked like Doug dropped a slow curveball in there. Top of the strike zone, borderline pitch. Pitcher sure likes it. The catcher's trying to get it, and you can understand why the hitter might not like it. He's going to have a hard time making contact if he swings that late.
You think that was what the conversation was as he walked back? So was it a swinging strike, or was that?
No, I don't think that was it.
Did you think it was a strike without the swing?
I think he thought it was high.
Fly ball out to right field, and Mazzara right there to make the play, and it's a quick top of the fourth inning for Doug Fister. One-run game as we head to the bottom of the fourth.
4-3 as we welcome you back to Globe Life Park in Arlington. It is time for Progressive Fan of the Game, and I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit. So sometimes on Progressive Fan of the Game, I get social media, you know, kind of ideas, and then other times I'm just walking around the ballpark looking. Tonight I was looking for someone or something, and I noticed this beautiful American flag bow. So I came to find out the story. This is Alexa Plants and her brother Austin. Come to find out, they actually have a sign also. We know I'm a sucker for signs. Alexa, whose birthday is it?
My dad's birthday.
Dad's birthday, so they made the sign that says it's their dad's birthday. Please put us on TV. So it's like, it was destiny, guys. It was destiny. We were meant to be, Alexa and her family meant to be the Progressive Fans of the Game. Do you want to say anything to your dad?
Happy birthday, Dad.
Nice.
That is awesome. Way to go.
That's great.
She only wanted one thing for the birthday, and she got it. Well, that's a good birthday right there. All right, Joey Gallo leading off this bottom of the fourth inning. He struck out in the second, 0 for 1. Rangers trailing by just a run to Justin Verlander here. We got a run in the first. They got 2 runs in the third.
You know, at times, obviously, Verlander has been dominant with 5 straight strikeouts, 6 strikeouts through 3 innings, but with a couple of doubles the last inning and a couple of runs, the Rangers now have 3 runs in this game. Verlander's only given up 3 earned runs in a game once. That was in his second start of the year. Since that time, he's only given up 2 earned runs twice. So the output for the Rangers, 3 earned runs in 3 innings, is pretty impressive against this guy.
Outside, and it's a full count.
And they've got his pitch count up there pretty well too. This will be his 62nd pitch. Had a long 3rd inning.
Yeah, it goes back to what Emily was talking about at the top of the show.
Yeah.
They have tried to really put more competitive at bats on pitchers, make them work, and draw those walks. There's another one. Well, leadoff walk to Gallo in this 4th inning. Of course, Gallo, we think of him for that home run power. Tomorrow night, though, the first 15,000 fans in the ballpark, they're going to get a Joey Gallo tape measure bobblehead courtesy of Dairy Max. Be here tomorrow. Astros Rangers 6:15 game. Pick up this one-of-a-kind bobblehead. You get your tickets at TexasRangers.com. We're calling 972. Gallo aboard for Chirinos, and he fouls this one back. That one got back here in a hurry. 0-1. Chirinos struck out in the 2nd inning. He was the last in a run of 5 consecutive strikeouts for Verlander in that 1st and 2nd inning. He's had just 1 strikeout since getting Chirinos in the 2nd. One and one. Gallo, a couple of stolen bases this year, not likely to be on the move. Everybody breaks contact here. We'll reset. Verlander used 25 pitches last inning. Lost Gallo to a walk here this inning, and now Chirinos fouls one back. It's 1-2. Robbie, we were talking earlier about some of the power numbers for him. 8 home runs this year. He's done a great job lately just getting on base. In his last 38 plate appearances, I guess you can make it 39 now. He's reached 17 times, 8 hits, 9 walks. So he's worked the count pretty well himself. In the dirt, 2-2.
after the Astros scored 4 runs in the second, even though it was very early in the game, the way Verlander's been pitching and the way he's pitched against the Rangers in 3 starts so far this year, it looked like that was a nice cushion for him. But the Rangers changed that in the 3rd inning. Have a nice little start to the 4th inning here too.
Swing and a miss, and he strikes out Chirinos for the 2nd time tonight. 1 away.
The second baseman, Rougned Odor.
He's got a lot of ways that he can strike you out. That hard slider has been probably his best strikeout pitch in this ballgame. He makes that tempting enough, but a little bit off the plate to where if you do swing at it, you're going to have a hard time making any contact with it.
Here's Odor. That one pushes him off the plate. So let's see, that's 7 strikeouts for Verlander. 5 of the 7 strikeouts have ended on the slider. That pitch is working well for him tonight. Odor flied out to left field in the 2nd inning, and they are wise to his bunting ways these days. Bregman over there at 3rd base in a rather traditional position for a guy who might bunt. And see where Bregman's playing tonight. That's, you know, in years past, you got a 3rd baseman, you're thinking the guy might bunt. Yeah, you move to the front of that little cutout area. Odor not bunting though, and turns it foul. 1-1.
This is last night. You can see the shift on the right side, and the man on the left side is all the way over near shortstop. And so if Rougned can put it in that triangle, which he did, there's no way that Bregman can make a play coming all the way over from shortstop. And interestingly enough, in tonight's ball game, Bregman is not playing over there anymore, and probably for that very reason. They saw his ability to put the bunt down there, don't want to let him do it again.
Ball and 2 strikes. Now Bregman will vacate that spot. No sense in being there now with 2 strikes, so he'll move and make it the more traditional shift against a left-handed hitter. One out. Gallo leads. There's a swing and a bouncer again, foul. Stays 1-2. Odor now, you look at the last, I don't know, 14 games, 13 of those he started. And he was hitting .286. That's a decent stretch. And a decent average over that stretch. It's lifted his average some 45 points during that time. There's a swing and a miss. He strikes out here. 2 away.
First baseman, Juan Guzman.
Verlander with that same hard downward breaking slider, generally somewhere between 86 and 88 miles an hour. Such a good pitch when he keeps it down there. We even saw him get a strikeout with it to Joey Gallo on one that stayed up and maybe a little bit out of the strike zone. But tonight, that has been his strikeout pitch.
Guzman swinging at the first offering and pops this one straight up into shallow right field. Reddick gets there, and the inning is done. A leadoff walk doesn't materialize for the Rangers. We've played 4. Astros lead by 1. By Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by GMC. Visit your local GMC dealer. What a beautiful night tonight. 95 degrees at game time, but it doesn't feel, but maybe 92. It was perfect. Tony Kemp leading it off here in the 5th inning, 9th place hitter. Had a base hit earlier.
Earlier in the game, Dave, we were talking about Doug working quickly, and I was talking about Jim Cott.
Yeah.
So between innings, I've looked up a couple of little interesting tidbits on Jim Cott. Randy Jones was a pitcher for San Diego back then. Some of our fans may know him, some may not. He was a sinker ball pitcher. In 1976, he won the Cy Young Award. He won 22 games for the Padres. Get back there, Tony. Randy Jones once pitched a complete game in 67 pitches. He also tied a 63-year-old record, I think it was Christy Mathewson's record, by not walking a batter in 68 straight innings. The reason I mentioned Randy Jones, there's the walk, is because he hooked up with Jim Cott on May 4th, 1977, in a game that lasted 1 hour and 29 minutes. So you talk about working quickly. Jim Cott worked quickly. Jim Cott used to say that Roland Heeman, the general manager, used to get mad at him because he'd be 1 out, 2 outs into an inning by the time they came back from a commercial. He pitched so quickly. He also said one of the reasons that the games are slow now is because back then the hitters never stepped out of the batter's box. He cited Mickey Mantle in that regard. He said they may take a pitch, and if they waited for the pitcher to get ready, they never took their back foot away from where it was going to be. They might move their front foot, but they never got out of the batter's box. They were always ready to hit, and certainly that's changed over the years. But throwing strikes and working quickly is probably the best way to speed games up. And on that particular day, Jim Cott and Randy Jones did it pretty quickly.
Say an hour and 20 what?
Hour and 29 minutes.
Okay, because we had a rain delay yesterday of 40 minutes, right?
Yeah. They'd have been in the 6th inning.
That is insane.
The other thing Jim Cott has done.
Chopper, third base. Beltre to second for one. Odor turns it in time. Double play. And they double up Springer. Bases are cleared here in the 5th inning.
Nicely done. That takes care of that walk. And in a tight game, that's a nice play. Long play and a fast runner. Springer trying to beat it out. Adrian gets rid of it quickly, accurately, and Rugi has to do the same thing. Nicely turned. Last thing on Jim Cott. Jim Cott has shot his age in golf. Oh. Left-handed and right-handed.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
What?
Left-handed. He's 74 right now, and he didn't do it this year, so he's shot somewhere in the low 70s, left-handed and right-handed.
Oh my goodness, this ball hit well center field and out onto Greens Hill. Alex Bregman got that one out of here in a hurry. First pitch swinging against Pfister. And that puts the Astros back in front by 2. 8th home run of the year for Bregman, and that happened quickly.
Well, Bregman, we talked about him a lot yesterday. Hit 19 home runs last year, so he's got the power to hit the ball out of the ballpark. More of a line drive gap hitter. A guy that in his career is pretty much guaranteed to hit 40 doubles in a season. And he also, as you can see on this swing right here, he's got home run power. Dead center field, 420 feet.
Breaking ball to Altuve that's off the plate for ball 1. Shooting your age in golf,
that's an accomplishment.
It's sort of hard to do no matter who you are.
I'm going to have to stay real healthy and do it when I get somewhere around 88 to 92.
Altuve rolls out and the inning is done. The Astros get a run back though, and they extend their lead to 2 runs.
game set between these two teams, and one of the storylines this homestand has been the hair color of Delino DeShields. On the off day, he colored it. It was a bit of a yellow color, and then the next day came back and it was more whitish. And so we wondered about the process that Delino went through. He said it was a process, a two-step process, as a matter of fact, to get to the color in which he desired. And so when I asked him the official color of the hair, he said, "I see white." And I said, "Well, I see white too." And he said, "No, like icy white." Oh. So the official hair color is icy white, and I also see white. And you see what happened there?
Yeah, I definitely see what happened.
It was a bit of a, it was one of those things like, you know, those things on the internet that's like, oh, I see purple, I see blue, I see black. I thought, well, I see white, and no, but it's icy, like I-C-Y, white is the color of the hair. What do you see, guys?
Yanni.
Laurel.
Yeah, I guess I see the white. That is to say, the icy white. Like I say, it kind of struck me that second day that maybe something. Like, honestly, I feel bad saying this, but I told him the other day I thought something went wrong, because the first day
you didn't know about the process.
I didn't know the process. Yeah. I saw step one.
I'm glad I've got the update now.
I wonder if it's cooler. 1-2. Ooh, whoa.
Try to bump
Show
with
and
two
bump with
strikes.
2 strikes.
I like that. If it's a fair ball.
I'll have some people thinking 2-2. And he takes low. It's full count. He wanted to peel that one, but Sam Holbrook says he did not go around. Lino doubled and scored in the 3rd inning. Inning in which the Rangers got back to within a run. 5th, 3-ball count rather for Verlander, and a hard smash down to first. Gurriel with a good snag, and he gets to Shields, 1 away. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's send it back once again to Dana Larson. All right, interesting. Yeah, 1 out here. And HOU, who has been on both times tonight, takes on the inside corner for a strike.
Oh, Washington's battled back. They're tied with Atlanta now for first place in the National League East. That's the last thing you want to do, whether you're tied for first or tied for last, is lose your best pitcher. One of your best pitchers, anyway. Not the best pitcher, but one of them. That is icy white. I see exactly what he's talking about.
Trying to think of a line from Frozen.
And I asked about platinum, and he made it very clear. It is not. Oh. It's not platinum. So don't be bringing that at the Rhino.
Yeah. Thanks, Sam.
don't even at me. Did you think it was? Did you suggest that? Like, oh,
I did. I threw it out. Platinum? No. And then that's when he said icy white, and then I said, and then we went through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Who's on first? Icy white. It's yeah, a vicious cycle.
2-1 to HOU. I think you asked it the other day, Tom, right? Like, a lot of times we see guys then with the copycat thing. The beard stuff always turns into a copycat, and we'll see teams that'll all dye their hair, whatever. But I think Delano's still kind of the only one going with the icy white at the moment. Bunt, third base side, and Verlander going to do nothing with it. HOU is on for a 3rd time tonight. It already extended his on-base streak to 24 games.
When you're the leadoff hitter, you're trying to get on base, you can see all you got to do is get the bunt down. Ideally, you bunt it harder so the pitcher can't even field it. But with the third baseman playing over towards second base, it's basically an automatic hit. HOU said, "I'll take it."
Yeah, well, I mean, it gets the tying run to the plate. You're only 5th inning, but
yeah, that's okay.
But yeah, I mean,
That's what the 2, 3, 4 guys coming up. Job of the leadoff man is to get on base. And HOU's done that 3 times tonight.
I love it. The Rangers have been bunting about as frequently as anybody these days, and I'm all for it. Just keep putting base runners out there. Profar 0 for 2. He struck out in the first, flied out in the third, and it takes low for ball 1. Verlander just to have a word with McCann. So those guys using a mound visit. And we say it all the time, Tom, that bunting isn't necessarily easy. In fact, yesterday with Garrett Cole, we saw some attempts or looks at it. People talked about after the game. Look, he's a tough guy to bunt off of. And you can say that about a lot of different pitchers. But going back to your experience, did you bunt very often? Were you asked to? Did you ever?
I didn't bunt very often, but I think teams tended to bunt more back then than they do now. There wasn't, Earl Weaver had the philosophy, get a couple of men on and go for the 3-run homer, don't give up outs. But for the most part, teams tended to bunt a little bit more. The games were lower scoring, and the philosophy wasn't sit back and wait for the home run like it is right now. So you didn't see bunting as much. But on the times when you do bunt, it is very hard to bunt a 98-mile-an-hour fastball up in the strike zone. Very difficult. In fact, I think a pitcher, if he senses a guy's going to sacrifice bunt, probably would try to throw you a chest-high fastball because it's a little tougher to get it down on the ground.
Well, here's Nomar. Take a look at his last at bat.
Well, that was a good at bat against a great pitcher. Starts off with a swing and a miss at an excellent curveball. Another curveball that was called a ball. A third ball that's outside. A hard slider down and in. A curveball fouled away. A great slider that he took that swung at a lot. And then a slider that stays up. It's on the inside part of the plate, but it stays up enough to where he hit it sharply to right field for a double. All breaking balls, sliders and curveballs in that at bat. And Nomar finally got one that he could get the bat on and do some damage with. And this time it's fastball right off the bat at 95 miles an hour.
Chu over at first base, and again a big shift with Mazzara up there. That went off the plate. So 1-1, back-to-back fastballs. There you see it again, and that is standing operating procedure for the Houston Astros with a lefty up there. Now 2 fastballs to Mazzara. So Verlander tries here. Fouled away. Another heater. 1-2. You look at what opponents hit against Verlander on his curveballs and sliders. The 124 average, 5th lowest in baseball. The slider, they hit just 105 against it.
And that's the ball that Nomar drilled past the first baseman into right field.
Well, 90th pitch of the night for Verlander. Mazzara bounces that one just foul. We'll do it again. There you go, inning by inning.
Depending on what happens with this at bat, Verlander at 90 pitches, he's on the verge of maybe not even being able to go 6 innings today. He obviously is a horse and can throw pretty much as many pitches as you want him to. 113 pitches in his last start. He's thrown as many as 118, but probably 5, 6, 7 times he's been under 100 pitches this year.
Mazzara fouls off another one. Rangers are now, that's 17 foul balls tonight off of Verlander. They have spoiled a lot of good pitches.
Yeah, they have. And another factor, the Astro bullpen has not been that effective the last couple of weeks, which may have A.J. Hinch say, I'm going to try to get an extra inning if I need to, if I can, from Justin Verlander today.
On the left side foul.
Another foul ball. Yeah, since he punched out 5 in a row in the first and second innings, he's had 3 punch outs, but not quite at the rate he was going at early in the game. And when you jam 90 to 100 pitches in 5 innings, it's a little bit different than 90 to 100 pitches in 7 or 8 innings. It takes more out of you to throw that many pitches in a shorter amount of time.
Down low, 2-2. Zarch just trying to wear him out. And Verlander, coming into the game, had been one of the more efficient pitchers in all of baseball. He was 9th in Major League Baseball, averaging right at about 15 pitches per inning. 2-2, and a little tapper by the mound toward second. That's where the shortstop Gonzalez will grab it and throw out Mazar to end the inning. So the Rangers do leave a man. We've played 5 complete. It's a 5-3 game. To work, and hope you're in your seat because he likes to get after it.
Well, let's take a look. We talked about Doug working quickly. So here's his pitch. Taken. Catcher back to the pitcher, stays right on the rubber, looks for his sign, and here comes the next pitch in less than 8 seconds. Not many pitchers deliver the pitch. Now, he doesn't do every one in 8 seconds, but on that particular pitch he did.
Oh, he comes off the mound.
That's not good.
With a bit of a limp. Kevin Harmon had athletic trainer out there to greet him immediately at the foul line, and Pfister, I mean, it's just.
Yeah, he knows.
Yeah, he's going
He's
straight
not even
off.
going to wait and try to see. He knows that he's done something that's
hate
not
that.
going to allow him to continue.
So Pfister is done, and Banny has to find somebody in that bullpen. game. This was the last pitch. Oh, see what you can see. He came off limping after this one. And you see the grimace on that face. Not good.
We'll wait for the report. Obviously something with his leg. We'll wait to find out for sure.
So Banny had to look out over that wall, see what he could find in the bullpen. And we've got Bush here in the 6th, and ostensibly, as we have seen him do now on a number of occasions, go multiple innings.
I'll take a look at his pitch arsenal. Features a mid-90s or above fastball. And that's his bread and butter pitch, what he likes to throw the most, over 60% of the time. He's also got a power curveball at around 80 miles an hour and a developing cutter that he gets well into the 90s, 91 to 93 miles an hour. It throws that about 13% of the time.
Well, our Kubota power stats tonight are about this Rangers bullpen and what they have been able to do, which is to say a 0.48 ERA so far here in the month of June, best in baseball. They have done an outstanding job. Bush and the rest of the guys will have it the rest of the way here tonight. Pfister leaves after 86 pitches thrown and an apparent injury. So the other part of that is that Matt Bush will have all the time he needs to get himself ready. Well, coming up, we celebrate National Best Friend Day with 2 Upper Reserve tickets for just $30. Grab your best friend and head out to the ballpark Saturday, June 16th. Rockies in town to take on the Rangers, a 3:05 game. And the first 15,000 fans will also get an Adrian Beltre Best Friends bobblehead, courtesy of Dr. Pepper and Elvis. And there they are. There's the other best friend on the right, Elvis Andrus. By the way, use coupon code BFF at TexasRangers.com/specials. Elvis not far off from returning from the disabled list. It's not going to be right on that first day that he's available, which would be June 12th.
Yeah, Elvis was out here early today, and the Rangers had flown in a minor league left-hander and a minor league right-hander to try to simulate as best as possible game situations for him to take batting practice. So that's a definite step forward.
Spirits high with Elvis, although that's not a great indicator. Kind of always that way. Well, he's been in very good mood lately. And fun to see him just playing baseball. Gurriel lifts this one out into short right field. Mazzara is there, 1 away. All right, let's check in again with Emily Jones.
The target date on that was June 12th. Obviously, that's when he can come off, but he does have to get that work in. He's got to go out on a rehab assignment. They really don't want to rush him. And John Daniels said earlier this week that it won't be June 12th when he is activated back with the big league club. They're going to take their time with him. Elvis obviously anxious to get back, but really neither party wanting to rush things too terribly much.
No, doesn't make any sense. 1-1 the count on Gaddis. When he does come back, the next question is, and of course this is the way things go when you cover a baseball team every day, all the writers already starting to ask all those questions about, well, what do you do? Profar and Odor and Kiner-Falefa, and seeming glut of middle infielders that this team has right now, because when Elvis returns, where do you get the at-bats for everybody? How do you slot them in? Good problem to have.
Yeah, one thing for sure, all three, Kiner-Falefa, Odor, Profar, they're all going to get playing time. And certainly the younger guys, Kiner-Falefa and Profar, have played well enough to deserve that playing time. And so Banny will figure out a way to give Adrian a rest occasionally, and maybe right off the bat Elvis won't be in a position to play every day. We'll see about that right off the bat. He's a guy that has played every day his whole career until this injury, but because of the injury, and when he comes back initially, he may not play every day. So there'll be ways to get everybody playing time. Maybe not quite as regularly as they've been accustomed to the last 2 months, but nevertheless more than might have been the case had they not had this extended period of time to show what they're capable of doing at the big league level.
That's interesting right there to see Hamels maybe passing on a little knowledge to Kiner Falefa. Ground ball by Gaddis. That one through into left field. Base hit, his second of the night. So many times you see the young hitters sidle up to the veteran hitters and ask them questions.
It's smart, boy.
And he's done that.
If you've got veteran guys like Chu and Cole Hamels and Adrian Beltre, you should take every opportunity that you can to ask questions and learn while they're there and you have that opportunity. It's invaluable.
Josh Reddick, and he takes a good fastball for a strike, 96 miles per hour. Reddick 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. 5-3 Houston leads. Rangers had to get into their bullpen a little prematurely. Pfister left the game with an apparent injury at the top of this inning. Just one pitch in.
If you go back far enough, Dave, I don't know that veterans were quite as receptive to giving younger players advice, and I'll give you an example of that. When I first got to the big leagues, Ted Williams was our manager, and we were playing in Anaheim, and I was in the lineup, and Andy Messersmith was the pitcher for the California Angels, and he had as good a stuff as any pitcher in the league. He had a great fastball, tremendous curveball, and I'd never batted against him, so I knew it was going to be a tough game for me personally. And about 5 minutes before the game, Tim Cullen, one of our veteran players who wasn't in the game, came up to me on the bench and he said, "Hey Tommy, are you a team player?" And I said, "Yeah, why?" He said, "If you're a team player, go tell Ted you're sick because you don't have the slightest chance of getting a hit off Andy Messersmith." So that's how veteran players treated younger players back then.
Reddick strikes out swinging, 2 away here in the 6th inning.
And he was right. I did have a chance. But that's not necessarily the way you want your confidence boosted right before you go to bat against him.
How much of that was tongue-in-cheek and how much of that was...
Well, it was... I took it tongue-in-cheek, but he wasn't smiling.
Yeah.
And
just testing you a little bit.
I think it was one of those, a lot of truth is spoken in jest. But the good part about it is he could have said it to anybody on our team. None of us had a chance except Frank Howard. Frank Howard in back-to-back games against Andy Messersmith and Clyde Wright hit balls that looked like they were, before they had the seats out in center field, you could see the big A out in the parking lot behind the fence. It looked like the balls were tee shots that were going to hit the big A. They each went close to 500 feet. And after the second game, they both sent over one of those gigantic Louisville Slugger bats, and they both signed it, to Frank with love, Clyde and Andy. They both won their game, but they sent that over. He did a home run off of each one of them. But other than Frank, there probably wasn't anyone else on our team that had much of a chance. We had a chance against Clyde Wright, more of a finesse pitcher, but Andy Messersmith at his best was about as good as it got back then.
2 away here, and the pitch inside to Marwin Gonzalez for a ball. A man on, top of the 6th inning, and Houston leads by 2. Now Bush on here, and likely, you don't know, there is some activity out of the bullpen, but more times than not, Bush has been asked to go multiple innings. We shall see. And some of that may be dictated by the score. Well, I've heard from other players, really even pretty recently about some of the treatment from veterans when they were called up, and it was not easy. It's getting better. I think more and more veterans are quicker to welcome the young players. 2-2.
Let's take a look at Matt Bush earlier in the year and now. Earlier in the year, his hands were chest high when he broke them to go to the plate, and now they're waist high or a little bit lower. So he has definitely made an adjustment in his delivery. You see his hands below the belt. Before they were chest high.
Full count here on Marwin Gonzalez.
Yeah, I'd be surprised, you know, even back then, if a young player went to a veteran player and honestly asked for advice, that they wouldn't have gotten it. They might not have been as ready to offer it as they are now. But I think today, in my experience, veteran players welcome the opportunity to counsel a younger player. Makes them feel good if a young player comes up and asks those questions.
Well, Gaddis was running. The ball wrapped up the middle of the diamond, heading for 2, and nobody there to stop him. Marwin Gonzalez. So he'll get a double. Gaddis had to stop at third base.
Gaddis is not the fastest runner in the league, but he could have stolen this base standing up. He had such a great jump. You can see him when that ball is lined into the outfield. He's 2/3 of the way to second base already. And so it's a simple task for him to get to third. And, you know, if that's Delano DeShields with that kind of jump, he might have been able to score all the way from first base on that ball into the outfield.
So Doug Brocail out there again now in a difficult spot. Second and third. And Brian McCann coming up. So try and keep this a 2-run game. This becomes a really big moment in this contest. You know, Verlander's getting close to the end of his night. His pitch count a little elevated tonight. And I think there's some confidence on the Rangers side that they might be able to get something done against the bullpen. But you got to keep it close. The Astros tonight 3 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Alex Claudio had been loosening up out there, so he appears to be ready when and if needed. McCann, a left-handed hitter, and he takes low, ball 1. That one floats in there for a strike. McCann's 1 for 2 off of Bush this year, or rather in his career. Time called right before that was to be delivered. McCann 0 for 2 today, though, and just back off the disabled list, activated today. And he takes a strike. It's 1-2.
Didn't like the call. Let's see where it was. Yeah, it's close enough for sure. Just touching the strike zone. Doesn't look good to the hitter, but
Gaddis third, Gonzalez second, and the pitch on the way. There's a ground ball out into the outfield in right field. Odor is there, and he throws out McCann. The inning is done, and so the Astros strand 2 in scoring position. Adrian Beltre will lead things off when we come back. LG OLED TV with AI ThinQ. All right, last of the 6th inning, and it's a 2-run game. Rangers sending Beltre, Gallo, and Chirinos in this 6th against Verlander as he gets toward the end of his evening. Verlander at 94 pitches coming into the inning, and he gets ahead of Beltre 0-1. A Rocket Mortgage player breakdown on Adrian Beltre. He's coming up. Here's the 1-strike pitch. 0-2. A lot of line drives, and you look at the other guys up there in the line drive percentage. Freeman, Votto, Nick Castellanos, all pretty good hitters. Beltre stays alive.
I'm going to make a generalization. Tell me if you agree or disagree. When we show the Fox tracks in that rectangle where the pitch was, would you agree that more often the argument is from the hitter complaining about a called strike that he thought was out of the strike zone?
Yeah.
And a lot of them are just barely touching the strike zone. You know, so much today you hear people talking about the electronic strike zone.
Right.
Don't need an umpire to call balls and strikes. I think from watching that if they ever do to go to an electronic strike zone where the balls are called automatically with cameras and lasers and what have you, that the hitters are going to be very, very disappointed in the new way that balls and strikes are called. I think the pitchers are going to love it, because at the bottom, unless the strike zone is adjusted, if those balls are just barely touching the strike zone all the way around, up and down, those are strikes. And most of the time, especially at the top of the strike zone, if the ball is on top, there we go.
Oh, there's the punch to the wide open left side. Gallo does it, and now the tying run will get to the plate in the 6th inning.
Fans love it. So do I. Nice going, Joey. You know, and the Astros may say, fine, we're giving them the bunt. We'll take a bunt right there instead of a home run. But, you know, the other side of it is you've got other hitters on the team that can hit as well. And why not get a base runner if they're going to give it to you? And with that comes the confidence that, hey, if they're going to give me that, now I see what you have to do. You don't have to drag a bunt and try to use the element of surprise. Just square around and push the ball there like it's a sacrifice bunt. They can see you doing it, and there's nothing they can do to prevent it when the guy's in back of second base. So why not give it a shot? Anyway, just to finish that, if the ball at the top of the strike zone, no hitter thinks that's a strike. But with an electronic strike zone, it would be. And same at the bottom of the zone. So I think if they ever do go to it and they keep the strike zone the same way as it is now, pitchers are going to have a huge advantage. May not be that way, but sure seems like that way to me. What do you think?
Oh, I agree. No, I definitely agree. Now there's one again, right on the edge of the zone, and Chirinos looks back and doesn't love it. And you're right. I mean, when you think about the percentage of complaints to umpires that are from hitters versus pitchers, it's probably 9-1.
I'm not sure what the percentage is. It does seem like it's the hitter more often than not. And so many times the ball that the hitter complains about, it doesn't look like a strike, especially if you watch the catcher catch it. It doesn't look like a strike, but when we show them, they are touching that rectangle. So that may be something that happens someday, but if it does, in order to keep the game interesting to the fans as far as scoring runs, you may have to adjust the strike zone a little bit.
That's the next step. 2-1, and that is low. I would not look forward to that day. I do not have any interest.
I don't think I would either. So, what do the umpires get? They get the calls right 97% of the time, something like that. The argument against that is, well, fine, that's whatever. In the course of a game, 6 to 8 pitches that could determine the course of the game. But, you know, it's been a great game for a long time. It's always been done that way.
Chirino swings 3-1. Puts this one high in the air out to right field though, and hangs up too long as Reddick puts it away. There are 2 out in the inning. Well, it's time for T-Mobile's Hats Off for Heroes as we salute Justin Verlander. He funded Wins for Warriors. He donates $1 million each year and hosts 5,000 military family members in suites at ball games. Of course, his playing career is decorated as they come. Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, MVP, and just as big off the field as he is on the field. And so we take our hats off. We salute Justin Verlander, who's been pretty good tonight. Rangers have had some opportunities, and Emily talked about it earlier in the ball game. That Jeff Bannister has said that's what he wants. He just wants his team to have scoring opportunities, and feels like if they continue to put themselves in these positions, they'll get the big hit. It didn't come yesterday, but maybe Rugi gets it right here. Verlander with his 106th pitch of the night, and it runs in.
Well, Rugi's due to launch one, that's for sure. Been up over 100 times. He's only hit 1 home run so far. Like sometimes you hit one and they come in bunches. Rugi has shown that he can hit the ball out of the ballpark. Hasn't happened yet this year, but it sure has in the past.
Bregman, just as he was last time, trying to take the bunt away from Odor. 2-0. So all the talk of the shift and how hitters adjust or have to adjust. It's been a big conversation this year around baseball. Now we're seeing, in this case, some defenses, the Astros defense, adjust to the hitters. Odor leads the league in bunt singles this year. 2-0. And that's very high. 3-0.
Yeah, pitch number 109 coming up for Verlander.
That's a lot of heat he's bringing tonight. 50 pitches and better than 95 miles per hour. And some of his hardest stuff, as is the case with him a lot, coming here at the end of his outing. Ball 4, and that is a 4-pitch walk to Odor. A bunt, single, and a walk. And you know there's nothing more that man would like to avoid more than going to his bullpen. He wants to see Verlander get through it, but he's flagging a little bit here.
Well, now you look at the situation. Nobody on base, 1 out. Joey Gallo lays down a bunt, beats it out. Odor walks. Now you've got Guzman, who has done a nice job this year, late in the ball game, close games, getting a base hit with a chance to get a hit and score a run.
Well, he keeps attacking the first pitch, pops this one up into left field. Kemp wants it, and that'll do it. The Rangers will leave 2 in the 6th. So Verlander does get through the inning. We go to the 7th. The Rangers trailing by 2.
into the bullpen, put the Rangers on the board. Second inning, Astros come back. George Springer rips a double down the left field line. That drives in a couple. The Rangers come back. Nomar Mazara rips one to right field. That's a double. That scores 2 runs. That makes it 4-3. And in a close game, Alex Bregman in the 5th inning, dead center field, hits a home run. That gave the Astros a 2-run lead. That's where we stand right now in the top of the 7th. Astros 5, Rangers 3.
All right, Matt Bush out for a little more work here in the 7th inning. It's Tony Kemp, the 9th place hitter. Kemp has done a fine job tonight getting on base at the bottom of the order. Base hit in the 2nd, walked in the 5th. You look at the in-game box score for the Astros, and Gaddis, Marwin Gonzalez, they both had big nights. They've spread it out pretty nicely. 2-1. Bush worked a scoreless 6th inning after Doug Fister had to leave the game, and we did get a report soreness in his right knee. Further evaluation and an exam coming tomorrow for Fister, but appreciate the little advanced news on that. Obviously there'll be a lot more information to come. 2-2 pitch, little chopper towards short, Profar. And what a stretch at first again! Holy Ronald Guzman, Batman.
The Astros may take a look at it, but whether he's out or safe, what a nice play. Hitting left-handed, you get to first base a little quicker than you do batting right-handed, and Kemp can run. So Jurickson doesn't have much time. On a hop to Guzman, and that's going to stand. He's out. What a nice play all the way around. Nice play by Jurickson, making that throw on the run. And we've seen Ronald Guzman stretch before the game. We've seen him do it during the game. We know how limber he is. He needed every inch of that stretch, and Jurickson had to get rid of it as quickly as he could. But they did that, and they got a fast runner, Tony Kemp.
Boy, that is something else. Beautifully done. And now George Springer. One and one to Springer. You see the 1-for-3 tonight for him. He's been involved in 2 double plays. One a more conventional 5-4-3 double play. And the other one was when he tried to score from third base and got himself in a rundown. A little bouncer to shortstop, got in a rundown. And then Bregman, as he was tagged out, they threw to second base and gunned down Bregman. Beltre to his left. Nice play. And he gets Springer 2 away. Hey, keep your favorite beverage steaming hot or icy cold with the first ever Rangers tumbler, courtesy of Academy Sports and Outdoors. First 15,000 fans to the game on Monday, June 25th get to take away this useful item. Be there for the Padres and Rangers, and you get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. So with 2 out, Bregman kicks off the plate for a ball. Bregman, a former first-round draft pick in 2015, the 2nd pick overall. Last year really started slowly. He was hitting under 250 on July 4th, but then hit 321 the rest of the way with some good power, and became a really critical part of their World Series run. In fact, he made a lot of really important defensive plays for them as well. Two and one the count. Today, Bregman with a home run that has added a big insurance run for the Astros. We're in the 7th. Last year, he played 21 games at shortstop when Correa was out with his thumb injury. Correa out again with an oblique injury, but it's Marwin Gonzalez. And Marwin Gonzalez played a lot of the games last year at shortstop, but so did Bregman. But Gonzalez has gotten the first 2 starts this time around. They also just happen to use Marwin in the outfield with some regularity as well, so that's part of it. I guess A.J. Hinch, if you had to say he's tipping his hand one way or the other, it's that he likes Marwin better at short. That is outside, ball 4, and Bregman takes the walk.
Bregman will definitely take a walk. He's the Astros version of Shin-Soo Choo. That's his 39th walk early in the season, and that's 4th in the American League. So he's a guy with gap power who can hit 20 home runs, 40 doubles. And when the season's all over and done with, he'll probably walk 80 or 90 times. Makes him an ideal second place hitter.
He walks more than he strikes out.
That's really impressive.
Which
I love guys that do that.
Yeah.
I think Mookie Betts was that way. Well, we saw him early in the season, but he's that type of guy too, potentially.
So with 2 gone and a base runner out there for Altuve. Jose Altuve has 1 for 3. And he hits his ball in the air out to right center field. The Shields is on the run back to the wall, and that one gets out. A 2-run homer for Altuve, his 5th of the year. And those are a couple of big insurance runs right there for the Astros. Now a 7-3 lead.
Well, you just have to admire Altuve's ability all the way around, offensively, defensively, athletically, everything about him. But the thing you don't expect is a guy his size to drive a ball 400 feet to right center field. We've seen him do that in Houston, and obviously right now we are seeing him do it, the replay in our ballpark. 5'6", and he can drive a ball 400 feet to the opposite field. That's pretty impressive.
So just like Bregman in the 5th inning, Altuve ambushes Matt Bush right there. First pitch swinging, 394 feet. The 1-1 to Gurriel, and he fouls it off for strike 2. Gurriel was hitless yesterday, 0 for 3 today, so no hits in 7 at bats. Sends this one out to right field. Mazara back a couple of steps and he'll tuck it away. That'll do it. But a 2-run homer by Altuve makes it a 7-3 Astros lead. Time for God Bless America in the 7th inning stretch as we turn it over to PA man Chuck Morgan.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. Will you please rise and direct your attention to the area behind home plate and welcome Lindley Cameron. In honor of all the veterans who have served our country and the servicemen and women who are currently stationed at home and around the world, Lindley Cameron will now perform God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From my
to the bottom of the 7th inning. And by the way, the 2018 Camping World Major League Baseball All-Star ballot is now open and exclusively online. So you can vote for your favorite Rangers to this year's All-Star squad by voting TexasRangers.com/vote. Catch all the excitement of the 89th Major League Baseball All-Star game presented by MasterCard. It'll be on July 17th live on Fox. So get out there, do your civic duty, vote. TexasRangers.com/vote. Well, bottom of the 7th, Rangers trailing by 4. Delano DeShields, 9th place hitter, leading it off. And he's doing it against a new chucker for the Astros, Colin McHugh.
Well, you know, you could say you'd like to get Justin Verlander out of the game, and you have to say that. But when you get Colin McHugh, it's no day at the beach. He's featuring a 1.32 ERA, a 1.96 opponent's batting average, 36 walks in 27 innings and only strikeouts and only 7 walks. Here's a guy that has transitioned from a very good starter for the Astros, won 17 or 18 games a couple of years ago, to a really good reliever right now.
One-two, and Delano takes outside. Taking a look at how things have been distributed through the Rangers lineup today. Chu once again doing a lot of the heavy lifting up top. The Shields had the double in the 3rd. Not on which the Rangers had scored 3 runs on just 5 hits. That is outside. It's a full count. Now, nothing better than getting that lead man on against a reliever, making him go from the stretch immediately. Especially with Chu waiting on deck. Delano swings, hits this ball well out to left center field, but hanging up a little bit. And not going to carry. Springer is there, 1 away. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's send it once again over to Dana Larson. Okay, thanks, Dana. So the big Subway Series right there for you.
The Red Sox got beat tonight. Yankees pick up a game. White Sox beat them 1-0. Beat Chris Sale 1-0. Chris Sale popped a pitch at 100 miles an hour in that game. I guess that's not a shock. He's frequently in the upper 90s. The White Sox beat him. Former teammate, 1-0.
The old reverse lock theory on that one.
I don't know if they beat him. I don't know when the White Sox scored in that game, but the White Sox won the game. Yeah, you would think the Red Sox at home with Chris Sale against the White Sox were a pretty good bet. That's why you don't bet in baseball unless you're crazy. Unless you got a gambling problem.
1-2 on Chu, who has been on base all 3 times today. A walk to go with a home run and the base hit. Yes, Sale indeed did give up the run, so he took the loss. Colin McHugh, and he checked that one up. 2-2 the count.
Chu's had a lot of different ways of getting on base today. Had a home run, had a walk, scored twice, and then had a bunt single into the shift.
Hits this one into the air center field. Again, Springer will have the play. 2 gone.
Shortstop, Jurickson.
Brings up Jurickson Profar. Profar 0 for 3 tonight. You talk about McHugh making the transition to the bullpen. Kind of had to, right? I mean, no place for him in that rotation. So he did a nice job.
There aren't many teams, I wouldn't think, in baseball that wouldn't be glad to have Colin McHugh in their rotation. At least half the teams would have to feel that way, I would think.
Profar takes a strike. There's Tony Barnett getting ready. So
And
Rangers got 2 innings out of Bush.
It's so rare for a team to go through the season without having injuries to their pitching staff. So the Astros are using him in relief, but if they did have an injury, they wouldn't have to worry about looking for a trade or looking for someone from the minor leagues. They've got him right in their bullpen right now. He could step into the rotation and throw 60 or 70 pitches easily.
Of course, they have Brad Peacock.
Peacock, he could do the same thing if he had to. Yeah, what a luxury they have.
Bouncer first base. Ooh, high hop there for Gurriel, but he'll get it to McHugh, covering the base, and it's a 1-2-3 bottom of the 7th inning. So we'll head to the 8th inning. Tony Barnett ready to come out of the bullpen for the Rangers. He'll go to work with the Rangers down by 4. Rangers turn the baseball over to Tony Barnett after getting 2 innings from Matt Bush. So Bush gave up a couple of runs on 3 hits in his 2 innings, a walk and a strikeout. Doug Fister went 5+. Allowed 5 runs on 6 hits, walked 2, struck out 2. Hurt his right knee and had to leave the ball game. We'll know more on that later. Meanwhile, here, Evan Gattis will lead things off in the 8th for Houston. 2 hits so far tonight for Gattis, and he has scored a run. Well, they're DH, and lately he has been a hitter. Designated for that sort of duty, and apparently appropriately so. The power numbers have surged for him of late. Flares this one out to center field, and DeShields is there. 1 away. All right, now time for a word from our friends at Kia.
At Kia, get America's best value backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
Josh Reddick. I was walking with a lot of woos. And it takes a strike. Who's the wrestler? Is it Ric Flair?
I think that's who it is. Yeah, I was reluctant to say because I couldn't quite remember. But I think you're right.
Little bounder down to Guzman, and they get Reddick. 2 away. Right off the.
They had a special. I can't remember what station was on Ric Flair. That if anyone is anywhere close to a wrestling fan, and even if you're not, you've just heard about wrestling, the documentary on Ric Flair was fascinating. And so was the one about Andre the Giant.
Well, yeah.
That was, I love that show.
Haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you got to see it.
I'm a fan of all things Andre the Giant, though.
If you don't really know much about Andre the Giant, you will come away, I think, really liking the big guy.
Marwin Gonzalez now. Now, I was not a big wrestling guy. I watched it, you know, on Sundays, mostly hoping that my mom wouldn't drag me off to church.
I'm watching wrestling, Mom. Leave me alone.
Yeah. Hang on, Mom. I think there's a big one coming up here in a moment. They're banging this guy's face into the turnbuckle. It never really worked. We always ended up going, but it was an effort anyway. But so I was never really totally into it. I did like it. Did you? Were you a fan at all?
I was a modest fan. Yeah. I wasn't a fanatic, but I was a modest fan. I followed it a little bit. A lot of my friends followed it a lot, and I followed it for that reason. But they don't, you know, they don't try to sell this as something that was real. Right. They sell it as it's a show, and they put on a great show. When you watch what these 300-pound guys do, they are athletes, and the falls that they take and the bumps and they wrestle every night, day after day. And when they're done wrestling, boy, talk about football players and what they go through. Wrestlers are pretty similar. The bumps and bruises they take on that tour that they're on. But Hulk Hogan was prominently featured in this special, and between him and Andre the Giant, it was just so much fun to watch.
You know, the whole minor league circuit, right? And they always bring acts in. And just there's always something to promote a night at the ballpark. One of those years when I was broadcasting the minor leagues, I got to meet George the Animal Steele.
Oh, yeah.
And he came up for an interview on the radio.
He used to wrestle around here.
Oh, man, he was the best.
Bill Ziegler, our trainer back then, was a big wrestling fan. And he and George the Animal Steele became good friends. Yeah, he loved him. In fact, I think George used to come to ball games, maybe in Minnesota. Is he from up there?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, but I certainly know him.
He's another guy they could do a documentary on.
Yeah.
What a fascinating guy.
Yeah.
2-2. A swing and a miss. Gonzalez strikes out, and that's a 1-2-3. Top of the 8th inning for Tony Barnett. Rangers offense needs to get it going. Fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. A beautiful scene from outside the ballpark, and here's what it looks like inside. 31,000 plus here tonight. Beautiful warm summer evening. Astros though leading 7-3. Now in the bottom of the 8th inning, heart of the order due. 3, 4, and 5 hitters for the Rangers. Colin McHugh out for a second inning of work, and he fires one in there for a strike.
Zig just texted me. It wasn't Minnesota. It was Detroit. George the Animal Steel was from Detroit. Well, with the success of those other documentaries, I would think they would try to include more of these guys.
Well, Zig would not, but Steele was like a really, really smart guy. I think he was like a college professor.
Was he?
Yeah, and you know, his persona was so larger than life in the ring, but he is like just the sweetest teddy bear of a man outside the rink. I mean, really, really neat fellow. McHugh's 1-1 and finds the outside corner for a strike.
McHugh's got good breaking stuff, really good curveball. I would think in a relief role, not in a starting role, but where he can come in and throw 25 or 35 pitches and go all out. His velocity is probably up maybe a tick as well. 92, 93 so far in this game, but when you combine the curveball with that high fastball, tough combination.
Well, that's his first strikeout of the night. Try the first 4 men he has faced.
Well, that pitch was way out of the strike zone, and Nomar actually fouled it off. Tipped it right into the glove of Brian McCann.
It's been a tough night tonight for Adrian Beltre. 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. One away here. Oh, look out. 1-1. You know who loved wrestling is Emily Jones.
Yeah, and I wrestling big in our house. We were a WWF household. So I wonder if you were WWF or WCW. I feel like it's a very important distinction we should all establish.
Oh boy. I think you might have been a little more into it than I was.
I don't, to be honest with you, I'm not sure that I really understood the difference.
No, I agree. That's kind of where I am too.
So WWF was like $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, Jake the Snake Roberts, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant. That was WWF.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that was definitely wheelhouse.
When we went home to Massachusetts, we usually fly through Hartford, Connecticut, and we saw Jake the Snake in the airport, Hartford, Connecticut. Kids recognized him. I didn't.
McHugh ready. The 2-2. And Beltre strikes out for a 4th time tonight. 2 away. Play this Father's Day coming out to the ballpark. Colorado Rockies and the Texas Rangers, and the first 15,000 fans to the ballpark on June 17th. We'll give you Rangers reversible bucket hat, courtesy of Fox Sports Southwest and Southwest Airlines. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS.
Well, some of our sports writers have been big wrestling fans. Some Ranger fans might remember Tracy Ringlesby, longtime Ranger scribe and
Cowboy.
MLB.com. Tracy's a big wrestling fan. So is Jerry Fraley's a big wrestling fan. A lot of them around here.
Frail's a big Ric Flair fan. Yeah. Turns out 1, 2, 3. 8th inning again for McHugh. We go to the 9th.
Tonight, first pitch of the ball game, Shin-Soo Choo, left center field into the bullpen. Justin Verlander was not at his best. He's only given up 3 earned runs in a game a couple of times. Tonight was one of them. Alex Bregman had an insurance run with that home run to dead center field. For the Rangers, Doug Fister, an injury to his leg, had to come out in the 6th inning. And then to cap off the scoring, Jose Altuve, 400 feet to right center field. That was a 2-run homer, made the score 7-3 Astros. That's a look at some of the action we've had tonight.
Well, now to the 9th, and Barnett, who was very sharp in the 8th inning, deals with the 8th place hitter, Brian McCann. Tony got a fly out, a ground out, and a strikeout in the 8th. So Matt Bush gave 2 innings of relief. Barnett hoping to do the same thing, and he evens things here at 1-1 on Brian McCann. Well, the Silver Boot Series, now a 19-game contest every year between these two clubs. Winner gets to keep possession of the Silver Boot all year. Astros won it last year after really a number of frustrating years for Houston, because the Rangers seemingly took ownership of it with no intent of ever giving it back. Even when Houston was on its way up and playing better baseball and trying to make a run at the division, the Rangers just dominated them in this series. Ground ball up the middle by McCann, and he is on to start the 9th inning.
Left fielder Tony Kemp.
Bring up Tony Kemp. So far this year, Houston with 7 wins, the Rangers with 4 in the series.
Tony Kemp called up from the minor leagues, getting a chance to play. He's played 16 out of the last 20 games. He's making a pretty good bid to stay in the lineup offensively and defensively. Watch this play. That's about as good as it gets. He had to run 50 yards to make that play. Sliding on the warning track. Interestingly enough, the next pitch, a ball was lined into the gap the other way. He made a diving play, just went off his glove. Otherwise, pretty much back-to-back pitches, he would have had a spectacular play coming in on the warning track that we just saw, and then one out in left center field. Just missed another one.
Barnett's 1-1. Ground ball, second base. That one almost handcuffed Odor. They'll get the force out at second.
That might have gotten his bare hand.
Center fielder George Springer.
That's why they weren't going to turn a double play once it was bobbled against Tony Kemp. But that's why he couldn't put much on that throw. His hand was probably numb for a second. You can see the ball go into the glove and hit the back of his fingers. And he just wants to get it over there accurately and make sure he gets one out. That was a shot by Tony Kemp.
Pretty good job just to stay with that.
Yeah.
Make that play. So 1 out. Kemp replaces McCann at first. George Springer. Kemp not going anywhere, and the pitch in there for a strike to Springer. Springer, another good year for him. 13 home runs so far this year. He really sets the tone up at the top of the order. Decent pickoff move, but Kemp back in there. I mentioned now a couple of years ago, it was 2015, May 24th, 2015. when A.J. Hinch moved him into the leadoff spot. You can see, by the way, how he's overcome a slow start to turn things up. Prior to Springer, Jose Altuve had been the leadoff man in Houston. And I think there was a sense that maybe they were underachieving just a little bit in 2015. Felt like they were going to be a little bit better than they were at that point. Altuve was really slumping, one of those rare slumps that he has had. He was 3 for 32. And that sort of forced Hinch's hand to put Springer in that top spot. And boom, they just absolutely ignited. And it came right at the conclusion of another frustrating series for them against the Rangers. Rangers had dominated them early in that year. Runner goes. Throw down to second is high. And Kemp is in there with his 3rd steal of the year.
Well, Tony had thrown over there a couple of times, sensed that Kemp might be running, but Kemp got a good enough lead. See him dancing around there. Quick acceleration, excellent speed, and another stolen base. Lost his helmet, covering up his head just in case the throw comes down there. Cover up his head and break his finger.
2-strike pitch, and Springer fouls it off. I think it was yesterday, right? When
Altuve, I think.
Yeah, Altuve, that's right.
That was right off the helmet.
Diving into second base, and he took a throw off the helmet. Here it is. Heads up.
Boink. He didn't even know it hit him. Tony Kemp saw that happen yesterday. He knew he lost his helmet. Was worried it was going to happen to him with no helmet on.
Pretty sure I've never seen that. A guy protecting his head with his hand like that on a slide. Check in again. So Kemp really providing some distraction out there. Keeps Odor a little bit closer to the base. Maybe he'd otherwise like to be. And this one off the handle. Stays 0-2 on Springer. Another first-round pick. Of course, at that time it was Ed Wade, who was the general manager in Houston, who drafted George Springer. 11th pick overall in that 2011 draft. Came out of the University of Connecticut. Swing and a miss, and Springer strikes out. 2 gone here in the 9th inning.
Third baseman Alex Bregman.
Good fastball. Threw it right by him.
Now Alex Bregman. Bregman's had a good night. A walk, home run.
Yeah, you mentioned Ed Wade and the imprint that he put on the Astros. The scouting director, I believe back then, was Bobby Heck.
Yes. Yeah.
And Bobby Heck deserves a lot of credit
Yes, he does.
for where the Astros are right now. And since Ed left and Bobby Heck left, they've done a great job. But I don't know if they'd be right where they are right now without the work that both of those two guys did. Bobby Heck was a heck of a scouting director for the Astros.
Strike to Bregman, the count 0-2. I feel like I just saw Heck's name again recently. And I'm trying to recall where he ended up now as Will Harris gets ready out of that Astros pen. Not uncommon though, a lot of turnover from one team to another year after year. The anomaly really are those teams that stay really stable, and to that end, we didn't mention it last night, but John Daniels received the contract extension yesterday. I think you addressed it in the pregame show with the studio guys, but really big news yesterday. John Daniels secured on a multi-year deal.
Well, when you look at the performance of the franchise over John's 13 years, I can't think of anybody more qualified or equipped to lead the team back to the same level of success in the future as John Daniels. So that was, to me, a no-brainer. And for Ranger ownership, a great move.
Well, strike 3 called. Bregman down looking. Not happy about it. Now, last chance for the Rangers in the ninth. And Odor, a big part of the Rangers rally.
Up early, but find themselves down 4 with 3 outs to go here in this game. Dana Larson along with Darren Oliver and Mark McLemore, and we'll have Rangers Live, the post-game show, coming up right after the game. Fellas, Mac, how about a little tease for us?
I want to talk a little bit of Chu in that leadoff spot and what he's been doing from there, and also some Mazara as well.
And I guess I'll talk about maybe a little bit about Verlander's performance tonight. It wasn't a Verlander-esque performance, but it was still good enough for the Astros.
And we will see if there's any late game heroics to add to our storylines as well. We'll get it back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Dana. Well, the rally cap's going here in the 9th inning. Fans hoping to see one of those Rangers comebacks. And we shall see. Robinson Chirinos will lead it off. Will Harris fires one right in there for a strike. 27th appearance for Harris.
Harris struggling a little bit by his standards early in the season.
Another strike, just like that, ahead 0-2. It's been an unusually quiet night at the plate for Chirinos, who we had mentioned earlier, has been doing a great job simply of getting on base. Harris gets him to swing and miss, and it's a 3-pitch strikeout, one away. So we're talking about John Daniels' last inning, and congratulations again to JD, extended by Rangers ownership, the longest tenured general manager in this franchise's history. 13 seasons, of course, playoffs in 5 of the last 8 years, twice to the World Series. The longest tenured, as I mentioned. He finally, it took him a while, but he finally exceeded your run.
Yes, he did. Well, you know, over those 13 years, there's been the 2 trips to the World Series. There's been countless times where the Ranger farm system has been ranked in the top 5 in all of baseball. We've seen young players consistently develop to help the big league team. We've also seen young players developed and used in key trades at the trading deadline to try to enhance the roster for the postseason. And that was done a number of years. Cost the Rangers a lot of prospects, but that's one of the purposes of scouting and player development, to find players to help your ball club and to find players to use in trades as a currency to acquire veteran players from other teams. And the Rangers have done that well in both regard throughout John's 13-year tenure. He's had great people working for him, starting with the scouts through up the development people, the people in the major league staff that you don't hear a lot about. It takes a lot of people doing a great job to make a successful organization. Starts at the top with John and filters all the way down throughout the organization. Ranger ownership recognized that, made a good decision.
Well, 1 out here in the 9th inning. Odor 0 for 2 with a walk. Pitch from Harris. There's a swing, and that one is out to center field, but right to Springer. So 2 away.
First baseman Ronald Guzman.
It'll be up to Ronald Guzman to keep this one going. Harris we saw yesterday for just a couple of hitters. He struggled a little bit, allowed 3 hits and got 2 outs. And kind of opened up a little window for the Rangers to come back late yesterday. But then was bailed out by the rest of the bullpen. Falls behind here 2-0. But should the Rangers not summon some kind of magic here with 2 out in the 9th inning, and they're in danger of dropping the first 2 games of this series. Game tomorrow night a little bit earlier, and then Sunday afternoon to wrap it up. And of course the oddity this year in the scheduling is that these 2 teams, division rivals, will wrap up their season series on July 29th. It's just unthinkable to me that team in the division you would not even see in the months of August and September during the stretch run, but it's the way the schedule works out this year. Rangers will have just 2 remaining home dates with the Astros, July 3rd and 4th. So a full count now on Guzman, who's 0 for 3 tonight. Ran into some pretty good pitching again. Verlander for 6, Colin McHugh, and now Will Harris. Guzman sends this one foul out of play. Well, just kind of looking back through the scorebook here, Tom, the Rangers had a bunt single in the 6th by Joey Gallo, a bunt single by Chu in the 5th inning. Their last hit, per se, outside of a bunt, was the Mazzara 2-run double in the 3rd.
Yeah.
There's a swing and a miss. A strikeout of Guzman ends it tonight. And the Rangers fall short 7-3, our final score this evening, meaning the Astros have taken the first 2 and put some pressure on the Rangers tomorrow and Sunday to try and split this series. So stay with us. Dana Larson, Mark McLemore, Darren Oliver are back in the studios ready to break this one down for you and set up tomorrow's game as well. For Tom Grieve, Emily Jones, and our entire crew, I'm Dave Raymond inviting you to stay with us. More Rangers coverage coming up right after this.